All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We have so many authors who make their way to our show. They don't come from Ocala very often. Once in a while they do. Usually they come from all over the world, actually. But the one thing that I think I've noticed is that because of the fact that we speak to so many authors, we have a listenership that is author intensive. I don't know what's a good word there, but a lot of authors listen to the show, and author wannabes, or authors who have written books but have not been published, etc. If you are a science fiction author and you want to have a way to get your work looked at, perhaps even critiqued, so that in the end you become a better author, or maybe you're an illustrator, by the way, that's also part of this. You might have heard us talking about the Writers and Illustrators of the Future Award contest, which is, I think, quarterly, right? Every
Yes.
3 months or so?
Yep.
So we have some friends over there. Carmen is our publicist who brings us some great guests, and he's hooked us up with another great guest. Stephen Lawson is on the phone. Stephen, by the way, in addition to being a talented author, is a captain, or was a captain, Robin? Is in the United States Army and the Kentucky National Guard, a helicopter pilot, the third place winner in the second quarter of the Writers of the Future contest. And I don't know if they've had the award ceremony yet or not.
May.
They're having it in May?
May 2017.
God, you're really up on this, aren't you? Anyway, so it's always fun to talk to the authors and illustrators that Carmen sends to us. And I encourage all of you to enter this contest. Here's why. It costs nothing, and you will learn from it. Even if you don't win, you will become better because of it. This is my absolute belief about this one. This is a no-brainer for me. If anybody knows any authors, you got to turn them on to this. Stephen Lawson, good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm okay. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling you from Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville, Kentucky. So before we get into your writing, how cool is it to fly in a helicopter? That is it. I'm afraid of helicopters. There's no wings. Yeah. I want to do it. I want to do the one over the Grand Canyon. I want to do the one over New York City. Where have you flown the helicopter? Everywhere, I'm guessing, right?
Well, not everywhere. I've flown mostly in Kentucky, done a lot of different missions for the Kentucky Guard. We support a lot of things, like we just had a lot of forest fires in our state, so we were doing operations to drop water on the forest fires, and we support a lot of state police operations and things like that too. So we do a lot of stuff for Kentucky. I've flown down to Alabama. That's actually where I did my flight training, but I've gone down there a few times.
Oh wow! And so you fly planes and helicopters?
I just fly helicopters for the Guard. We do have a couple airplanes that are on the Army side. Most of our airplanes are actually C-130s, and that's the Air Guard does those. But I've done a little bit of private flying. I was soloed in a single engine aircraft, but I don't have my pilot's license for the airplane. Though.
Wasn't the basic idea behind the helicopter thought of before the idea of a winged aircraft? Wasn't like Leonardo da Vinci or something like that? And speaking of writers of the future, or artists, illustrators of the future, I mean, wasn't he making illustrations that looked like helicopters back then?
I think Da Vinci, he had a design for an ornithopter that he had a few designs like the air screw that you see in some early science fiction, and the ornithopter, I think Frank Herbert made use of in Dune. So his stuff has come up in science fiction, actually.
Oh, okay.
In a few places. But yeah, I don't know if he actually had a helicopter design, but he did have a few aircraft that resemble it.
And you also served 5 years on active duty with the Navy, and you were deployed as part of the immediate response to 9/11 that became Operation Enduring Freedom. So
really? Wow.
Thank you for that, sir.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate your support.
So as a writer, I'm wondering if all of these things that you experience in real life play a role in the writing that you do, the fictional stuff.
They do, and I meet people and talk about things that are in different fields. Like I just got done with the draft of a story that it's kind of in a steampunk world. So I actually, my first unit was the aerosol unit, so we do training aerosols and stuff like that there. So I kind of worked that into a story about air assaults and things. My brother does underwater search and rescue for the fire department, so I worked some of the science behind saturation diving into that as well. So it does play a part. Obviously, I don't write a lot of military science fiction or anything like that,
right.
but some of those things I've been educated on are really useful for writing.
When we talk about the writers of the future, in the beginning, when we first started talking to guests that Carmen would send us, I would often think writers of the future means these are writers who will be in the future writing, and it didn't sink in that it was you all writing about what you envisioned the future to be. In your line of work, considering the fact that you've been with the military or our defense, our national defense, I like to put it that way. Do you incorporate that? Because national defense is really in response to political unrest in the world. That's really what it is. So do you incorporate the politics of the future when you're trying to write about the science part of the future?
Some of the politics, I don't write a lot about national conflict or anything like that, but I finished a draft of a story for the Jim Bain award about a Mars colony. So it's about international cooperation and things like that. The role that Russia has played in the space race and things like that. So it comes into play, but honestly, I mean, from a personal perspective, I try not to comment too much on
but
politics.
But you know what? You just told me something that makes me realize that probably a lot of our advancements come from the fact that we didn't always get along. Maybe competition is what makes us better, both of us. The Russians and us.
Absolutely, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think, and I'm taking MBA classes too from Indiana University Southeast, and just from the economics classes. I mean, you see that competition drives us to succeed. If you don't have any competition, it's very stifling.
So
I think in any arena.
Go ahead, Ryan.
When you were writing your story, your award-winning story, Moonlight won for the competition, did you write it specifically for the competition, or is this one of many and then you selected one to enter?
I actually submitted to Writers of the Future twice before, and I got a couple of honorable mentions from them. And they've given me some helpful advice along the way. But this one I did write specifically for them. It's kind of a cabin in the woods mystery. There are two people living on a moon colony, and one of them they're married, and one of them wakes up to find the other one dead. And she has a history of sleepwalking and things like that. So that kind of plays into who actually did it. And she's got a friend on Earth who's trying to help her solve this through a series of photographs and videos and things. So.
I wonder how far off, not the death part, but I mean, how far off are we from actually having colonies on other things, whether it's the moon or Mars or other moons of other planets? I wonder how far off we are from that.
Hopefully not too far off. If you read Stephen Petranek or if you watch the Mars show that was on the History Channel, Stephen Petranek's, I think, a little overly hopeful. He's looking for 2027. We'll have something on Mars, but just from my writing perspective, I'd guesstimate about 2050 we'll be on Mars.
Why is Mars so fascinating as opposed to returning to the moon?
I think Mars has a lot of opportunities for us. I mean, there's obviously there are a lot of gases in the atmosphere there, like it's very rich in CO2, and there's water in the regolith that we can make use of. There's not really a lot of stuff for us to use on the moon. So, I mean, a long-term colony on the moon with much reduced gravity and not a lot of natural resources there. We'd be dependent on Earth for a very long time, as opposed to Mars, maybe we could be self-sufficient after,
It's all right.
maybe
I guess I
20 or
didn't.
30 years.
I don't think I realized that. All right, let's take a little break, and we'll be right back. Stephen Lawson is on the phone. His award-winning story, by the way, is, as Robin mentioned, Moonlight One. He is the one of the winners of the Writers and Illustrators of the Future Awards 2017. So that's exciting right there. I don't know if it'll replace his career as a helicopter pilot. It's all fascinating. Gosh, you've got a fascinating life, Stephen. And you're so young. I just looked at your picture. Oh my gosh, you're like a baby.
I know.
All right.
I know.
So young. All right.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Unless this is an old picture, I don't know. All right, we will take a little break. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accidents. On this Friday, some sunshine and cooler than recent days, high 66 to 70. Clear to partly cloudy Friday night and rather chilly, though 38 in a few inland spots, 45 along the coast. A cool day Saturday with intervals of clouds and sun, high 59 to 63. Sunday may start with a bit of rain, otherwise mostly cloudy, high only 59 to 63. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hey, this is Matt Wilkerson from Verizon. You work all day, right? So why would you want to spend your night out shopping for that new phone? Well, Marion County, let me and Verizon help you out. I can deliver to your home or office, saving you precious time. Phone, tablets, internet, home phones, even accessories. Whatever you need, we will deliver free of charge. Call me at the store, 352-528-0020. That's 528-0020.
Greetings, good citizens. Join me, Queen Eleanor, at the 31st Annual Hogtown Medieval Fair, January 28th and 29th and February 3rd, 4th and 5th at the Alachua County Fairgrounds. Join the colourful cast of characters on the streets of Hogtown, where you'll find medieval merriment for the whole family. Cheer on royal knights as they joust for their lady's honour. Watch a living chess match or enjoy performances by gypsy dancers and magicians. Then wander through the marketplace where hundreds of artisans sell their medieval wares. Come one, come all to the Hogtown Medieval Fair.
This is James Snyder, inviting you to join me each Sunday morning at 9:30 for Sunday Joy on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion, and learn how they can help you.
Hey, I'm Gary. And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
Putting the local back into radio. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. WOCA News. Variety. Information. Now. Keep your arms and legs on the inside at all times.
All right, 12 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We are live streaming this. By the way, the camera's not aimed at Robin and I, so you see the door and the American flag and our information on the left side of the screen. But I was looking for a picture from the book, the volume 33 of Writers and Illustrators of the Future. So I will continue to look at it because I want to put it up on the video here while we talk to Stephen Lawson. He is in Kentucky right now. Am I remembering that right, Robin?
Yeah, volume 33 will be released this May. Volume 32 was released last May.
Okay, so
volume 33 isn't up yet.
I'll find one picture. Is Stephen, is your story yet in one of the published books?
It'll be in volume 33, so it's coming out this May.
Oh, okay.
It's actually the first listed story in there, so page 1 is Moonlight 1.
So
nice.
You already told us that in entering the contest, you had, I guess, feedback from the judges or from somebody at the Writers and Illustrators of the Future Awards. Did you use that to craft this story so it would be maybe tailor-made for what they do? Is that why this one won, or was the writing advice applicable to everything you do?
I didn't really take any advice and tailor craft the story to what they wanted. Just, reading things from Johnny Labaki, who's a really great contest administrator. I kind of knew what they were looking for and what was acceptable and what wasn't acceptable. I honestly had to edit a few things out because I made it a little bit more gritty and raw than maybe they would have liked for the end product, but they were very helpful in the editorial process too. So I guess they use it in some schools and things like that, so I kind of had to tailor back some of my language.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You had written a story called Gifted that won first place in on the Premises 25th contest. What is Gifted about?
Gifted is about a girl who's created her own artificial intelligence, and I kind of salvage things from stories that don't make it other places. But I kind of speculated on the future of RFID, radio frequency identification, and there's a girl from her class who's gone missing. So she uses a drone with an RFID scanner to scan for tags in the clothing of this other girl, and she finds her. She's been kidnapped, and she's in this guy's basement.
Oh wow!
But she kind of uses some technology to find somebody that the police can't find.
Oh my goodness. There was a story this morning. I want to share this with you. First of all, let me do this here. I think I just put the picture of the volume 33, the cover of the book on the streaming video. So there was a story this morning, and this is kind of over my head, but the headline says, physicists unveil new form of matter, time crystals. Have you heard of time crystals?
I've never heard of time crystals. I've heard of tachyons, and I know that some particles can travel backwards in time, but I didn't know that they crystallize. That's news to me.
It says following. You got to Google this. It says following a blueprint. I'm getting this from phys.org, phys.org. It says following a blueprint created by UC Berkeley physicist Norman Yao, physicists at the University of Maryland made the first time crystal using a one-dimensional chain of ytterbium ions. You know what that is? Whatever. Each ion behaves like an electron spin and exhibits long-range interactions indicated by the arrows. Oh, forget it. It's over my head. You got to look at this and then you tell me what it means, because I'm just reading right now. But anyway, science fiction has always been a predictor of what's going to be in the future.
Yeah, I think that's true. The farther out that you reach, the longer it's going to be until you see fruition to that. The Star Trek communicators look exactly like our cell phones now and things like that. Obviously, we don't have teleportation or faster than light travel, but I think that geeks kind of go together. So if you have a bunch of scientists and they love science fiction, start reading and getting ideas and things like that. So,
what kind of Illustrators' perception of your story did you choose to put with your story in the book?
Well, the writers of the future, I guess the staff actually chooses, or maybe the judges choose. They actually assign you an illustrator. I haven't even seen the illustrations for my story yet. I looked at a proof copy of just the edits and things like that, and mentions my name, but I haven't seen the illustrations yet myself.
Oh, wow.
But that's exciting.
Yeah, I guess that's what we're kind of both focusing on, is the change that's happening for you as an author. Do you see this 10 years from now, when you look back at this, do you see this as definitely a turning point for your writing career?
Absolutely. And my focus right now, I'm really looking forward to the workshop in LA that they're flying me out there for, which is amazing. But my goal short term right now is to get into the science fiction and fantasy Writers of America. So I've got one other, it's a flash fiction piece that Daily Science Fiction has contracted to publish. Once I get 3 of those short publications in a professional market, I can join that and, gain some legitimacy towards getting a book published down the road. So I've got a goal in mind.
So when do you go to L.A.?
That is the last week of March. So not far away.
Not too far away. And do they have the workshops for the illustrators also, or do you know?
I believe so. I think they fly everybody out there, all the the contest winners from last year, and there's a big awards ceremony, and they, everybody's in tuxes and dresses and things like that, and they have some published finalists that go out there too. So it's honestly a career launching thing, from what I understand.
When you write your stories and then your family and friends read them, do they look in the stories to see if you have captured their personality?
I actually had, because I'm a company commander for the National Guard in addition to flying, but some of my fellow pilots and soldiers, they're curious, like, hey, you're going to put me in a story? I don't really capture people exactly and put them in there. And what I told one of them is, when I first started writing, a lot of my characters were flat, and I didn't know why that was. My characters have to be me to a certain extent for me to relate to them. So I'll take other people's traits and put them in there.
Right.
But to some extent, even the bad guys are me, honestly.
The bad guys are you. How about the lady who died on the moon? Did you know her?
Oh, gosh.
I didn't know her, but I have to think like her to understand her. So
Okay.
she's me to a certain extent.
Now that's an interesting answer right there, right? You have to think like the person you're creating. Wow. That's a whole world right there, isn't it? Isn't it? It's almost like what's that movie, The Matrix?
Yes.
It's almost like The Matrix. Like these people are real people, and you're the puppeteer or you're God to them, to those people, right? To
a certain extent. Sometimes I don't even understand what they do, and I have to think about it for a while. Oh, why did you do that? So.
Oh gosh, that's fascinating as well. So let's see. We would look forward to the book. Robin said it comes out. I think I saw it on Amazon. Is it possible?
Oh, nice.
Writers of the Future, Volume 33. L. Ron Hubbard presents Writers of the Future on Amazon.
Really?
It says paperback $15.95. It's a pre-order price. Okay, so it's not out yet. It's a pre-order price. Okay, got it. Wow. So have you pre-ordered your own book?
I haven't. I think they're sending me 12 copies, but from all the people that are demanding autographed copies from me, I'm probably going to be buying a few down the road.
Are you going to make the story into a series?
I might. Parts of it play into the one about the Mars colony that I was mentioning earlier. I don't know if the characters necessarily will carry over. The detective probably will in a few other stories, but I'm not sure yet, honestly.
That's an interesting character.
Well, I love what is offered by the Writers and Illustrators of the Future folks because, as I mentioned in the opening, it's a great opportunity for authors who might not otherwise get some exposure. And it doesn't matter if you're young or old. In your case, it looks like you're young, but you've been around for a while, so you just have a young look, I'm guessing. You've got good genes.
I'm 36, but I appreciate the vote of confidence.
That is young. All right. Well, good luck in everything you're doing. I certainly hope if you're ever in Ocala or in Florida, you stop by Ocala and we get to meet you in person. Definitely would love to have you in the studio. You've got a lot. I'm looking at your information here. Gosh, there's so much stuff we didn't touch on. Well, thank you for being on the air with us, Stephen, and stay warm. What's the temperature like in Kentucky today?
It's cold. It's starting to snow today, so it's about 33.
Starting to snow. See, the grass is always greener, right, Robin?
Yeah. Does religion play a part in any of your stories?
Not so much in Moonlight 1, but it does in some other stories. People, their views on God. I don't really have God do a lot of direct intervention, but it plays a minor role in some of them.
By the way, if we are able to travel back in time, I hope that Gene Roddenberry goes back to those little flip phones, and he has Dr. Spock say to Captain, what's his name?
Mr. Spock.
Mr. Spock says to
Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk. He says to him, Captain, you need an app for that. Yeah, I'm hoping that'll happen. Well, thank you, Stephen. Thank you for being on with us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we will be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The White House says President Trump will hold phone calls with the leaders of Germany, France, and Russia tomorrow.
The president has said it's America first, and that includes in his foreign policy and his national security move. So, yes, he will call out other nations when he believes it's not in the American interest, in the interest of humanity. But that's what these conversations are for, these private conversations with world leaders.
On Fox and Friends this morning, presidential advisor Kellyanne Conway. President Trump tweeting this morning more on Mexico, saying it's taken advantage of the U.S. for long enough. At the Australian Open, after 5 long sets. Then on ESPN, Rafael Nadal fending off Grigor Dimitrov. He advances to face Roger Federer in the finals on Sunday. Fox News, we report, you decide.
The tech show's on this month. You know, I was thinking of looking at home security systems.
Oh, cool. I'll go with you. We're looking for more home security ideas, too. That's why I called Budget Blinds.
Budget Blinds?
Look at this.